विद्याददति विनयं विनयददति पात्रता विद्याददति विनयं विनयददति पात्रता पात्रता धनाप्नोति धनाधर्मं तथा सुखं पात्रता धनाप्नोति धनाधर्मं तथा
Education gives humility. Humility gives character. From character, one gets wealth. From wealth, one gets righteousness. In righteousness, there is joy.
Today, we are living in a world without borders. Globally, there has been remarkable progress of technology, and so our capacity to connect, modulate, and propagate the world has become highly interconnected and increasingly globalized. Lifestyle disorders like obesity, diabetes, cancer has become a household phenomenon. Nations are becoming melting pot for genetic disorders. On the other hand, habitat destruction, urbanization is pushing global climate change into an inadvertent reality. It is catalyzing a global shift of vector and pathogens dispersal, creating a whole new challenge for the healthcare to deal with new, emerging and re-emerging pathogens. COVID-19 is one such phenomenon that the generation has witnessed, let alone the frequent incidents of MERS, SARS, Ebola, etc. Keeping pace with the rapidly progressing world is taken its own toll to the global health and health of an individual. Age has become a mere number for illness. Kids, young and olds are suffering same condition that otherwise seemed distant possibilities in past. Truly, global challenges are emerging to maintain the social and psychological good state in individuals. What we need is collective efforts to deepen our understanding on the changing landscape of healthcare, strategies to secure the health from the upcoming challenges, and finally ensure access to the affordable healthcare and medical countermeasures. This can be realized only if we share the lessons learned. Train the next generation in advanced research, develop focused academic, and ultimately create a holistic ecosystem for the bench-to-bench-side translation of innovations and novel technologies. We need to brainstorm more and translate the benefits of fourth industrial revolution into healthcare. We need to promote One Health. We need to adopt innovations in areas like personalized medicine, precision medicine, rapid diagnostics, artificial intelligence, and deep technologies. On this road, Sri Balaji Vidyapith, a healthcare-focused university, has made commitment to excellence. With a vision to strive as a premier global health science university leading in frontiers of education, research and patient care, Sri Balaji Vidyapith is happy to present the 2nd International Health and Research Convention 2023. As the brainchild of the Chancellor, Sri M.K. Rajgopalan, and Vice Chancellor, Professor Subhash Chandra Parija, the IHRC was conceived to foster and promote the idea of Global Converging Forum, a platform for the clinicians, scientists, researchers, and related subject matter experts to nurture the mind and be a hope for the better healthcare and healthcare research for the society in large. The first IHRC was held in 2019 and has tremendous measurable success with a footfall of more than 1,800 participants. It was well received by the community. On behalf of ever-growing SBV family, this time we congratulate and heartily welcome all the participants, experts and all to the second IHRC. In the next few days, you will be witnessing remarkable scientific and academic extravaganza spanned across 25 workshops, 16 conferences and 6 CME and symposiums. We call you for active participation. We call you to engage, interact and evolve with the lessons learned. Welcome to the second International Health and Research Convention 2023, organized by Sri Balaji Vidyapith, Puducherry, India. Sri Balaji Vidyapith Puducherry is happy to dedicate the second International Health and Research Convention to our nation's initiatives for the prevention and effective management of COVID-19 pandemic.
Song that has been created for this IHRC that will be played next.
Annadanam Mahadanam Vidyadanam Ataha Param Annena Shanika Tripti Yavajivancha Vidyaya. Together we sing inspiration, illumination, innovation. Unraga, Indamaga, Anbodu, Saat mein gaaye, ek vagayamu, Saat mein gaaye, ek vagayamu. celebrate, believe, vision and venture of SBV.
That was a song which was specially created for this occasion by our music therapy team, the School of Music Therapy team. We have the Chancellor's message. Sri Balaji Vidyapith has added yet another feather to its cap in organizing the second IHRC 2023. This is indeed a laudable initiative propelled by the dynamic efforts of our Vice Chancellor and his able team. We wish the convention a grand success. And now we have the Vice Chancellor's message. This convention is the first of its kind, to the best of our knowledge, that would foster a variety of themes, all pointing to evidence-based medicine, which would be aimed at all-round progress in science. Friends, I hope you will immensely benefit from the proceedings and have a great time. So thank you, sir. Yes, the next one. Okay. So may I now call upon the organizing secretary, our very dear Dr. Ananda Balayogi, sir, to offer the welcome address. I would like to invite Dr. Satish Patak sir to please come and take up the dais. Uttareshwar sir, please. Vaishali ma'am. Kathy. Devasena miss. One more chair we need. Ramareddy sir.
योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि ॐ तत्परं पर्याय विद्महे ज्ञानलिङ्गेश्वराय धीमहि तन्नो गुरुः प्रचोदयाते। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ॐ। A very good morning to everyone. Welcome back to our second day of this event. Yesterday, so many of you were here for the first day, the pre-conference workshop on yoga therapy, music therapy. Had quite a dynamic day. Today we are assembling to enjoy the beautiful presentations by eminent resource persons from all over the world. In fact, it is a great honor and privilege to us and responsibility that so many of the great personalities have agreed to send messages, send their talks, and it's quite a fabulous response from all sides. In fact, we must acknowledge the support by our Chancellor, Sri M.K. Rajagopalan, whose visionary foresight enabled the creation of a Center for Yoga Therapy, a Center for Music Therapy in 2010 at SBV. That today has grown into the Institute of Salutogenesis and Complementary Medicine, under the able guidance of our Vice Chancellor, sir, and our Dean Faculty, Professor N. Ananthakrishnan, sir. We have with us in person eminent resource persons like Dr. Uttareshwar, sir, who is representing the Sri Aurobindo Society. Sir is the Senior Vice Chairman of the Pondicherry Chapter of the Indian Yoga Association. We have Dr. Satish Patak, sir. You met him yesterday also and had a beautiful session on stress and yoga with him. A retired general surgeon who today is heading the scientific research at Kaivalya Dhamma. and responsible, as I said yesterday, for so many of the doctors in Maharashtra getting yoga training through the Maharashtra University of Health Sciences. He is representing Kaivalya Dhamma, who is also co-sponsoring this event, along with the Indian Yoga Association. All of these are knowledge partners for this event. We would like to welcome Yogacharani, Yoga Shakti, Kathy Davis, who has come all the way from the UK and is with us. She initially had different plans, but then she was initially going to come in November, go back and come in February. And then a lot of things changed, and so she's been able to come and be with us in person. And yesterday you heard her wisdom and her sharing. Such a pleasure to have you with us, Kathy. Of course, we have Dr. Vaishali, who is one of our extended family of ISCM as an adjunct faculty, and I don't think of even her as an extended family, I think as a family, but as an adjunct faculty, usually you are an extended family, and giving us so much of support in the education aspect of the musical therapists. And yesterday she was part of the workshop and will be sharing some ideas today. Of course, I must welcome also my beloved Dharma Patni, Yogacharani Devasena Bhavanani, who is once again here today with us. Yesterday you heard her share, and today will be sharing her expertise of yoga and Natyam on behalf of ICYR at Ananda Ashram and Yoganjali Natyalayam. We also would like to acknowledge the president of the Indian Yoga Association, Ma Hansaji, who is the director of the Yoga Institute in Mumbai, the oldest yoga institute, organized yoga institute in the world. And she has given a very beautiful message that we will be playing in a few moments. Also, our respected Guruji, H.R. Nagendra ji, who is the past president of the IYA and now member of the governing council of IYA. Along with that, from the World Federation of Music Therapy, Dr. Anita Swanson has given a very benevolent message supporting our work. And also we have Dr. Indra Selvarajah from Malaysia, who is felicitating the occasion and will also be giving today's keynote. In addition to that, from USA, we have from Loyola Marymount University, Laurie Rubenstein, who is a clinical director of yoga therapy at LMU, who will also be felicitating in this first part of the event. So we welcome you all to this event, and we are going to go in for the felicitations part, and then we are going to be honoring our resource persons. We'll now begin with the felicitations, and so you may have to move it slightly to the side to see the screen. It will be on the screen. And then we would like to, at that time, once we have the felicitation part completed, we would like to honor our resource persons. So.
The first one we'll have is by Pujya Ma Dr. Hansaji Yogendra, President, Indian Yoga Association and Director, the Yoga Institute, Mumbai, India. I'll call the Ananda, sir. I'll call him. Folders ponga. Go to the fold. Not this, not this, not. Too close. Okay. I'll see and bring it. Not mic.
Namaskar. On the occasion of Second International Health Research Convention, I would like to congratulate my dear Ananda Balayogi and his team at Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth for their commitment and sustained effort in the field of salutogenesis. Salutogenesis studies the origins of health and wellness. This focus on health and well-being over the disease, which has been one of the foundational values of the Yoga Institute. Thus, I am well aware of the growing needs and scope of salutogenesis to improve the quality of life, and its effort of Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth and the team of Institute of Salutogenesis and Complementary Medicine. Towards this have not only been well-intentioned but also meaningful, pragmatic and result-oriented. These efforts, I know, will practically impact many lives, and for that I would like to congratulate you on behalf of the Yoga Institute. The International Conference on Role of Yoga and Music Therapy in Promoting Salutogenesis will surely provide an intellectually stimulating and philosophically enriching experiences for all the participants. As a lifelong practitioner and a yoga mentor, I know firsthand the profound impact of yoga and yoga-based therapy in all aspects of well-being, mindfulness and holistic living. Both yoga and music have immense potential to heal not only just the body but also the mind. Conferences like these are essential to add academic rigor and discipline to the contribution and possibilities of what is today known as alternative medicine. Such conferences can bring valuable life experiences and lived results to the fore of modern health researches, and thus make alternative healing a more intrinsic part of traditional medicine and healing practices. I advise the Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth to continue undeterred in its efforts and wish that such events become a steady feature with the medical and healing community. I would also like to appreciate the SBV effort to bring the benefits of such advanced therapy for the benefit of country and its people. This is imbued with the same spirit of service that has been a driving philosophy for 104 years at the Yoga Institute. This is also in lines with the central philosophy of yoga, its immense capacity to support humanity. We extend our support to this endeavor to expand and express the balance of yoga, the magic of yoga, the joy of yoga. That has always been the heart of the Yoga Institute. With best wishes for SBV on its way forward on the journey of wellness and service. Namaskar.
Thank you, Ma Hansaji, for that kind message of blessing. We now have a message from the Ministry of Ayush through our beloved Dr. Basavaraddi, who is the Director of the Morarji Desai National Institute for Yoga and the CEO of the Yoga Certification Board in the Ministry of Ayush. So we will now be sharing Dr. Basavaraddi's message of blessing for the occasion.
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaskar. Honorable Chancellor, Vice Chancellor and faculty members of the esteemed University, Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth, eminent yoga masters, dignitaries on the dais, medical professionals, yoga professionals, yoga enthusiasts, my brothers and sisters, my pranams and hearty greetings to you all on the occasion of International Health and Research Convention 2023 and also pre-convention workshops being organized by Institute of Salatogenesis and Complementary Medicine of Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth in association with many leading yoga institutions like Kaval Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram, Indian Yoga Association and others. My greetings to you all. On this occasion, I first take this opportunity to congratulate the university administration and the academic professionals for taking this initiative to conduct this convention to take the stock of the research in the areas of yoga therapy and music therapy and other aspects in the management of many lifestyle related disorders. First of all, I congratulate Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth for starting the yoga therapy courses, bringing the standards and producing the institutionally qualified yoga therapists by providing degrees and postgraduate degrees, promoting them to take up the doctoral level research. So Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth and this institute has taken this initiative. I am so happy that it's doing wonders under the able leadership and guidance of my esteemed friend Dr. Ananda Balayogi. Yoga is now the global entity. It has become globally and slowly is unfolding the various dimensions of yoga. So the major transition is from the last 1 decade I've seen, then yoga has been transferred from the fitness regime to the wellness regime. Therefore, it needs the refined our present practices and make it a globally that needs the standardized research, standardized protocol based on our ancient system and wisdom, but they at the same time present it to the modern scientific community, not only the medical science professionals, but to the entire scientific community shall accept them. So that has the strength, but we have to present that. That's the need of the hour, so that there will be a big market and big dimension for the yoga as a wellness partner globally. And the fourth important dimension I would like to see that in the recent past, slowly the acceptance of yoga therapy, not only as an adjunctive therapy, as a complementary therapy, which is being used till today, but as an independent yoga therapy, especially in the rehabilitation of, it may be cardiac rehabilitation, it may be a COVID rehabilitation, it may be cancer rehabilitation, on anything, and in prevention already it is worldwide accepted, but in the management and the rehabilitation, slowly yoga is coming up in the bigger role playing in these areas. That has to be explored. But what is the problem is, as now we may say that there are 12,000 or 15,000 research papers on various dimensions of yoga and in the management of disorders, etc. So in the published in the peer-reviewed index journals. So therefore I want to see that a competent institutionally qualified yoga professionals are in need of the hour, so that they can with a competency prepare the protocol and justify it. So my concern is why a particular set of yoga practices like asana, pranayama, bandha, mudras, kriyas have been taken. What are the permutation and computation? And in the whole capsule there are sub-capsules. So therefore, why you took those capsules? What is the importance of that? Many times we don't apply our mind, and we don't apply the principles of yoga which has been envisaged in our traditional texts while preparing the yoga protocols. So that's why many times we are tested and we are statistically significant, and they have been published in peer-reviewed, but they are not being used in the hospitals or the therapy centers. Whatever the research is, what we conducted. Kindly, there is a need a survey on this. How many of our research papers which have been published have been used in the therapy setups, yoga therapy setups? It's one of the big question mark I had. So therefore, for that one we need the 5 layers of dimension, what I propose many times. I am emphasizing during last 1 decade on this. First of all, yoga is a philosophy, it's a darshana. So anything today, or it may be language or the politics or the science or anything, everything has the philosophy. The philosophy of physical education, philosophy of yoga, philosophy of economics. Like this, every subject has its philosophy. That's why I try to understand. For your information, with a great pleasure I would like to say yoga has a sound philosophical footages. We need to understand that. Not only the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, and there are many other texts, fundamental texts, which is having a sound philosophical foundations. So from philosophy to the science, but here the science is not only limited to the empirical science, it goes to the subtle sciences. So that the yoga person, that subtle science for experiment to the experiential. So this is the one change in the yoga I have to see. That means a person who is going to advocate is not only experiment it, but he has to experience it, so that he is having the confidence. Then that person who is experimented and also experienced, develop the technology. The technology to the appliances. The appliances to the transfer to the individuals or the population by the teachers or the therapist. The 5th one is most important. That means a therapist who is transforming any knowledge or giving any therapy, he should have the sound knowledge of the philosophy or darshan of yoga, and he should have the sound knowledge of the scientific dimensions of yoga, both experimental and experience, and he should know the conversion of the technology, science into the technology into the protocols. The appliances means it's small protocols. So that to test our protocol at the high standard parameters which has been globally accepted, then slowly, at least for one disease condition, if you come up with a very good protocol, it works. Definitely, for each individual we need the variation, but at least to some extent, one protocol works. So even in the modern medicine also, there is a formula and not even a single drug. And they varies the drug variation, they will do it. Same thing here also. The protocol may vary, the Ustrasana may be Ardha Ustrasana or the modified Ustrasana, Bhujangasana may be Sarala Bhujangasana, like that. That variation will be there, but what type of movement the body needs, how much you have to stay for a particular condition, that has to be decided by the yoga therapist. That's why while conducting the research, unless an yoga therapist give an importance and play a major role, in my opinion, the research papers are not complete. So we are taking the statistical data and we do the statistical analysis. But while advocating the yoga therapy, and yoga therapist shall observe many other things, the changes occurred, which cannot be recorded or it may not be mentioned in our parameters of the research parameters, but he can record and it can be discussed in the discussion, and in the next time we may propose that these several dimensions we have noticed and it can be incorporated in the next research. My dream now, you can see all these research papers, don't feel bad or have been published by the medical professionals or other professionals, including many other coming from the other faculties. So most of them are medical professionals or scientific, coming from the scientific background, not originally from the yoga background. And yoga is to promote it as one subject, science, yoga science as a subject. That is my dream, where in the next years to come, the papers are being published by the yoga professionals as a principal investigators or the first author, being accepted by the global community, scientific community, in the peer-reviewed impact research journals. So then slowly, the huge talent will come to this professional. Any subject or any matter will be grow when we attract intellectual or the bright brains to our field. Slowly now the yoga has started attracting the bright brains. So now if the bright brains provided the knowledge and the opportunities, the system will grow. So therefore, kindly take up stock of the entire research and take some of the things if you feel good and adopt it as a resolution and send it. And I once again, with these few words, thanks all the office bearers of this Balaji Vidyapeeth and the organizers of the conference, convention, and my best wishes on my own behalf, on behalf of my Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, and also on behalf of Ministry of Finance, Government of India. So our best wishes, and looking forward to a fruitful discussion and also the good, very brief resolutions which can be give a way for the promotion of yoga therapy globally. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you very much, sir, for your sharing your expertise so well. And I should say that, like what was emphasized yesterday by Sridharan sir during the panel discussion is something the same what Basavaraddi sir has also emphasized one more time, that the practitioner, the healthcare provider and the receiver both should be practicing equally well, so that the experience could be gained. And that is how, like formulation of a protocol, research, all these, the emphasis of all this was very well stated by Basavaraddi sir. So thank you so much from here on behalf of SBV for sharing your thoughts and for felicitations, sir. The next one, felicitations and ideas given out by Dr. Anita Swanson, President, World Federation of Yoga Therapy. We are so lucky that, we have such eminent people who have music therapy, I'm sorry. Parakadoshan solvanga Tamilla. I keep telling yoga therapy and that came out. It's actually music therapy. She is from the World Federation of Music Therapy. So such eminent people agreed to be part of our conference here. So we are really very lucky, and on behalf of ISCM, I would like to personally thank all of them who have agreed to be a part of this convention and the conference.
Hello, I am Dr. Anita Swanson, President of the World Federation of Music Therapy. Thank you so much for your invitation to speak with you today. I will share a little bit about music therapy, our organization, and why I'm excited for this conference. The World Federation of Music Therapy is a global organization for music therapy associations, professionals, and students. We support a worldwide music therapy network that includes all cultural and ethnic backgrounds. Our membership consists of music therapy organizations, training programs, certified music therapists, music therapy students, and individuals associated with music therapy. According to the definition adopted by our organization in 2011, I quote, "Music therapy is the professional use of music and its elements as an intervention in medical, educational, and everyday environments with individuals, groups, families, or communities who seek to optimize their quality of life and improve their physical, social, communicative, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual health and well-being. Research, practice, education, and clinical training in music therapy are based on professional standards according to cultural, social, and political contexts. To be a professional music therapist, one must complete an approved university degree program in music therapy. The World Federation of Music Therapy is dedicated to developing and promoting music therapy throughout the world as an art and science. We support the global development of educational programs, clinical practice, and research to demonstrate the contributions of music therapy to humanity. The World Federation of Music Therapy seeks to bring the opportunity to practice music therapy and the benefits of music therapy interventions to people throughout the world. We believe music has the power to heal and promote well-being. Therefore, I am pleased to see this conference on the role of yoga and music therapies in promoting salutogenesis come to fruition. Salutogenesis is needed now more than ever as we move from living in a world of fear during the pandemic into a world where we can be more in charge of our health. Music therapy addresses all areas of human health: physical, social, intellectual, spiritual, vocational, and emotional. While people may seek music therapy services when a health event or crisis occurs, music therapy may also promote positive health behaviors and be used to maintain or improve one's health. A focus on the whole person and an integration of all aspects of health is straightforward, since music affects many parts of the human brain, mind, and spirit. We often see positive responses to music therapy, even in dire circumstances, due to how music reaches people. And so now, as we continue to live in a world inundated by daily stressors and increased anxiety, let us turn to make positive, proactive differences in our health. Music therapy and yoga are two ways to do this. They both focus on improving one's total well-being. Let us make intentional uses of these powerful tools to improve our lives while encouraging others to do so as well. This conference will serve as a wellspring of information and a catalyst for living a life promoting health and well-being. In addition to receiving information, we find ourselves here in a community that is focused on wellness. We appreciate these opportunities to share, network, and learn from each other. And thus, I congratulate you on bringing this conference to fruition and wish you the best as we move forward together. Thank you.
So I hope you heard what I said till now. Well, actually, music therapy is just starting off in the country. We have in the last 1 decade or so, but it's actually one of the major global players in Southeast Asia. So I'm really happy that we could get President of World Federation of Music Therapy to talk for us, because there are very few number of credentialed music therapists in the country and even in Southeast Asia. So I take this opportunity and say thank you to her for taking the time in spite of all the other things that they could do. And she also sent her apologies that she wasn't able to come here, but she would definitely make a time to come here. So next we have Dr. Indra Selvarajah from University Malaysia, University Pelita, Malaysia, and she'll give, you can see her felicitation happening now.
Good morning, Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavanani, Director of ISCM of SBV. My fellow guests of honor, Pujya Ma Dr. Hansaji Yogendra, President of the Indian Yoga Association and Director of the Yoga Institute. Dr. I.V. Basavaraddi, Director of MDNIY and CEO of Yoga Certification Board. Dr. Anita Swanson, President of the World Federation of Music Therapy. Professor S.C. Parijah, Honorable Vice Chancellor of SBV, Dr. Sobhana Jaganesh, Dr. Meena Ramanathan, and our esteemed regional liaison of the Southeast Asian region, and my dearest colleague, Assistant Professor and PhD Scholar, Madam Bhavanani Ramesh. It is a privilege to be invited as a guest of honor and to follow on from Dr. Anita Swanson, the President of the World Federation of Music Therapy, to say a few words of felicitations at this prestigious healthcare research conference. Music therapy in India is fast-growing and progressive. As a member of the World Federation of Music Therapy Council and a native of Southeast Asia, it gives me great pleasure to see the tremendous strides that India is making in the field, which is helping to propel our work in Asia towards greater heights. Not only has India been blessed with the hallowed cultural traditions and rich musical resources, India is uniquely poised to spearhead and champion salutogenesis as a proactive, preventative healthcare approach, with its unique cultural synergy between music therapy and yoga therapy. As the birthplace of yoga, with thousands of years of wisdom and experience in this field, as well as a South Asian hub where music therapy as a modern allied health profession is now being propelled forward, India is bridging both cultural tradition and medical innovation in ways that are both unprecedented and necessary if we are to discover new ways to sustain current healthcare needs, as well as chart a course for the future. Among the many things that the COVID-19 crisis has taught us, it's that our current healthcare systems are broken and ill-prepared to face another pandemic. We are in desperate need to find new and better solutions that are proactive rather than reactive. The newly minted Institute of Salutogenesis and Complementary Medicine, ISCM, at Sri Balaji Vidyapith in Pondicherry is considered as one of India's top-ranking healthcare universities, with more than 3,000 students enrolled in the streams of medicine, dentistry, nursing, pharmacy, and allied health sciences. It is my opinion that ISCM is strategically positioned to be a nexus of salutogenic health, bringing together thousands of years of traditions of Eastern healing practices, health, and the modernity and advancements of Western science of healthcare and medicine. ISCM is a true credit to the father of salutogenesis, Professor Aaron Antonovsky, and his influential theory of salutogenesis, which is a key inspiration for their work, with its focus on factors enhancing wellness and health promotion. The core mission of ISCM is to integrate health promotion and wellness through yoga therapy and music therapy into the modern medical system. The team behind ISCM have been hard at work laying the foundation for this work for over a decade and a half. And since 2013, yoga therapy and music therapy have been part of Sri Balaji Vidyapith. And through these two modalities, has focused on manifesting salutogenesis through traditional and indigenous systems of therapy. Dedicated centers for the same in the form of the Center for Yoga Therapy Education and Research, CYTER, and Center for Music Therapy Education and Research, CMTER, have enabled more than 100,000 care seekers to manifest wellness while taking the message of salutogenesis to students who have passed through SBV. Hence, I would like to extend my heartiest congratulations to the organizing team for putting together this excellent conference. I look forward to all that has been thoughtfully planned and the many good things that will come out of this conference. And it is with this spirit of sincere gratitude, friendship, solidarity, and support that I end my felicitations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Indra Selvarajah ma'am. I think we are planning soon an MOU with their university. Thank you for sharing your expertise. I think people are still caught up with the center. I hear everybody saying Center for Music Therapy, Center for Yoga Therapy, but even us, you know, we still haven't got over that, because last whole decade we have been talking about SITER, SIMTER. So it just comes to us so naturally. Now we have to change it over to School of Yoga Therapy and School of Music Therapy. So anyway, thank you so much. Next we have the felicitations, and she is sharing her expertise by Dr. Laurie Rubenstein Fazzio, the Clinical Professor Yoga Therapy, Loyola Marymount University, USA. And personally, she's a very, very good friend of mine. And she's also a part of our Ananda yoga tradition. Very, very sincere yoga sadhaka is what I can, certify about her, knowing her so personally. So you are going to enjoy her thoughts.
Namaste. Greetings. And thank you for inviting me to be here with you for this auspicious conference. My name is Dr. Lori Rubenstein Fazzio, and I am the clinical professor of yoga and health at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles. And we would all like to offer our congratulations to Dr. Ananda, Dr. Meena, and the entire team at Sri Balaji Vidyapith University for the launch of the Institute of Salutogenesis and Complementary Medicine. So I'm very excited to be here with you, and I will go ahead and share my screen. So today I am going to share with you about a few of my favorite practices from the Geetananda lineage.
So before we go on with the practice session that she is going to explain, we thought we would take this moment to felicitate our eminent resource persons here with the memento.
Following the felicitations, by our international
Yogacharini Kathy Davis, ma'am, please.
I request Vaishali ma'am to felicitate Kathy Davis, Yogacharini Kathy Davis at this moment.
Vaishali ma'am to be felicitated by Kathy ma'am. We are felicitating Yogacharini Devasena Bhavanani.
I request Nritya ma'am to felicitate Devasena. And
Last but not the least, we would like to felicitate our dear Subbu Bhaiya, who's here all the way from yesterday. Rama Reddy sir and Satish Patak sir jointly going to felicitate our dear Subbu Bhaiya.
I may require some psychiatrist help also.
Continue with Laurie's talk or finish the internal.
For the paper presentation.
Continuing on with Dr. Laurie Rubenstein Fazzio's speech along with the practices that she is going to explain.
And today I won't be focusing too much on the primary intention of these practices, as Dr. Ananda has extensively shared about them. I'd like to add in a polyvagal perspective on why I think these practices are ideal for optimizing our health and well-being through the lens of polyvagal theory. Now, I'm choosing a couple practices to focus on. Everything that I'll be sharing is applicable to many other practices, and particularly those that involve chanting or vocalization, and thus are applicable to music therapy as well. So as this conference is also about music therapy, what I'll be sharing is applicable to that. So the practices that I'd like to focus on are Brahma Mudra for the neck and Nada Bhavana Shuddhi Kriya, which I first learned and encountered at the Ananda ashram in Pondicherry back here in, I think, 2017. So Brahma Mudra, as we know, Brahma has 4 heads. And so in this practice, we turn the head in different directions and then chant a bija sound, which a key to this is that most of these sounds have a vowel sound to them. And I'll talk about why that's important for this. And it involves the turning of the head, the chanting of the sound. We are considering different perspectives. And I will go a little bit more into why these particular activities may benefit our what we call vagal tone, which has to do with our autonomic nervous system. And I'll get into that in just a moment. The other practice is the Nada Bhavana Shuddhi Kriya. And this one, we start off on our solar plexus and we do a tapping, which an interesting point is there is a modern practice called it's EFT, I think it's emotional freedom technique. It's a tapping on specific acupressure points. And there have been over 100 studies on this tapping. You say a mantra or an affirmation, a phrase while you do this tapping. Over 100 studies have shown it to be beneficial in reducing anxiety, depression, and treating PTSD. So I'm curious if the tapping that's involved in this practice may also have such benefits. But we may start on the solar plexus, ha, 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 and the heart area, ho, 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 he, me, 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 D, 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 D. Gather the attention. Go, 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 go. So as you can see, there's also some vowel sounds. We have the tapping and we're gathering and then throwing into this posture. And again, I will come back to that in just a moment. So a couple points first, little side notes. As I mentioned, vowel sounds. So one of the reasons why vowel sounds can be so helpful in reducing stress is that we have an open vocal tract. So consonants, there's a closing like k, t, l, Vowels, ah, o, u, e. So the most acoustical energy is expressed this way. And I like this little quote here that in poetry, vowels are the vehicles for emotion. So when a baby's upset, you hear, ah, you hear these vowel sounds come out. So these are one of the ways that we can release this kind of pent up tension that we have. So here you see these babies, and you can tell by looking at them that they are not very happy. Part of, if you notice, this is the facial expressions. This is part of what we call our social engagement system. And this is what I will be talking about. So without just looking at the images, without any other information, we can all discern these babies are not happy. Babies don't understand language yet this is their communication through facial expressions. Patanjali told us a long time ago that our sensory organs is how we interact with the world. So we know that these are our sensory organs and our jnana indriyas, mostly in our face, and then also our karma indriyas using our hands and our feet, etc., is how we communicate and interact with the world. And then if you notice these, we also know that these, through their expressions, are not very happy. Notice how there's an inward holding, a closing off on the senses, closing the eyes, closing the ears, inwards. So this is that internal stress state. And that's opposed to when you see here that when we are happy, we are usually open, our posture's open, our mouths are open, and there's this outpouring. So we can tell here, again, these expressions tell us the internal state of these babies. And then also notice here that many times when somebody is in a state of a positive internal state, there is a smile on their face, the open mouth, and the arms are oftentimes in this upward posture. There was a woman who did some research on what she called the power posture, this posture. And while her research has been criticized quite a bit, there is evidence that the posture in which we hold ourselves has an impact on our neuroendocrine chemicals. So take a moment and slouch. Like really slouch, a bad posture. Get the worst posture you can get and try to smile. It's very awkward. It's not very authentic to smile when you're in a slouch. Now sit up straight, hold your arms up in the air. Come on, everybody, do this with me, please. Come like this and try to frown. It's awkward, right? So when you're in this posture, your body naturally wants to smile. And when you're slouched, your body naturally wants to feel like it's in a more depressed state of being. So the position we put our body does change our internal state. In fact, it does change our chemicals. If I take this pen, I put it in my mouth, it forces my mouth into the shape of a smile. There was actually some research where they did this. They had people put pens in their mouth, and what they found was they had increased serotonin, increased dopamine, increased endorphins. So all these really kind of happy hormones just from this. So putting your mouth in the shape of a smile has health benefits. Again, this is all part of this social engagement system. So we'll talk a little bit about the social engagement system. This is also, according to Stephen Porges, this is what we call the ventral vagal complex. So I'm going to back up and give a little information about this. And I just want to specify, I do not mean the social media engagement. That's a different type of social engagement. So first off, we're talking about the vagus nerve. That's the primary thing that we'll be talking about. This is that ventral vagal complex I talked about. So the vagus nerve, what is it? It's a cranial nerve. Cranial nerve means it comes out of our brain stem, kind of the base of our brain, primitive part of our brain. And the vagus nerve is the longest one, cranial nerve 10. It innervates every organ in our body, including our heart and our lungs. So you can see this here, every visceral organ. And it's depicted by this yellow here. And again, it's one of the cranial nerves, and I'm going to go a little bit more into that. Vagal tone is when this nerve has the ability to be resilient. So the vagus nerve is known to put the brakes on our stress response. So when we get stressed or under threat, our nervous system becomes active, and the vagus nerve is what calms that back down. So the more that has the ability to be resilient, so we can become activated and then we come down, that's resilience, and that's called vagal tone. That is associated with improved health. Giving a very brief description of this, but I think most of you already know what vagal tone is. So backing up, it used to be thought that the autonomic nervous system was a binary. So on the right, we have the sympathetic system, and the sympathetic nerves are mostly in our thoracic spine, our middle back. And these, when we are activated, these will divert the blood to our extremities so that we can maybe run or fight, and also makes the heart beat faster. We can get more oxygen to the tissues, etc. And then the opposite would be the parasympathetic system, which is primarily the vagal nerve, but also, as you see up here, involves other cranial nerves and some sacral nerves. This slows everything down. It's oftentimes termed the rest and digest, whereas the sympathetic is the fight and flight, flight or flight. So rest and digest, fight or flight. But Stephen Porges posits it's more complicated than that. He says we really have three systems. So we can freeze up, which is part of the vagus nerve that's called the dorsal vagal. We can mobilize, which is our sympathetic nervous system. And then we have this third part that he adds in called the social engagement. And I'm going to go into that a little bit more. Ultimately, what he posits is that our nervous system has a capacity of what he calls a neuroception. So our nervous system is evaluating our environment. Are we in danger or are we safe? If our nervous system senses that we're in danger, then this ventral vagal, this put the brakes on, it disengages, that safety key disengages, and we go into survival mode. If it senses our environment safe, then it stays engaged and we have a healthier state of being. So let's look at this a little bit closer. Let's start on here on the right. If our nervous system senses that we are under threat, we can go into the sympathetic nervous system. So that's the fight or flight. And we might look at that as rajas with the gunas, right? That's the activity. We need to be active. We mobilize. If it perceives life threat, and I'm saying perceive because it doesn't mean that it is a life threat. You might be terrified of snakes and you see a stick, you think it's a snake, and so you have a extreme reaction. This could be what we call the freeze response, where you vasovagal syncope, where you just collapse, you play dead. And so that is what he would he would describe as the dorsal vagal complex. This is the part of the vagus nerve that innervates everything below the diaphragm and causes everything to shut down. We might look at this as tamas and the gunas, the inertia, the lack of movement. Over here on the left, we have if we perceive safe. So when we perceive safe, the ventral vagal complex. This is the part of the vagus nerve that innervates everything above the diaphragm and interacts with all these cranial nerves, is what I'll get into in just a moment. We can also have safe activities. So that might be when we are engaging in, maybe we go for a run together and we're talking. We have our sympathetic nervous system with our ventral vagal. So this could be sattva would be the ventral vagal. That's that nice homeostasis and balance with rajas. So we can be active and sattvic. Or we can have safe immobilization, which is termed intimacy. So this could be two people being vulnerable with each other, feeling safe, and that could be sattva and tamas. So let's say we perceive danger. Our body perceives danger. Here we have the COVID monster coming at us. The ventral vagal disengages and we go into sympathetic fight or flight. Or perceives extreme danger, play dead. Or if we perceive that, like these cute puppies, or I don't even know if this is a puppy here, safe, very nice. Okay, now we have safety, our ventral vagal is active. So again, up here on the left, we have that sattvic ventral vagal. Down here on the bottom, we have people who are feeling safe enough to go into shavasana in a group situation outside. So they're in a sattvic tamas state. And over here on the right, the dancer is using lots of cranial nerve activity with all her facial expressions and even all the gestures, as is this group below, to partner together to create these yogasana pyramids and such. So this would be sattva and rajas, ventral vagal and sympathetic together. So the key point about the social engagement is that it involves facial expressions, gestures, and what we call prosodic vocalizations. So babies and puppies, they don't understand language, but they understand our tone of voice, our face, and our gestures. That's that communication I was talking about. So the prosodic vocalizations, if we a baby or a puppy, we might say, "Oh, you're so cute." And that helps them to feel safe. Whereas if I use a harsh tone and my face gives a sense of unhappy or anger, then the other person may not feel safe. And so if we think about the two practices from the beginning, particularly the Nada Bhavana Shuddhi Kriya, we have gestures, we have these vocalizations, and we have facial expressions as well. And again, I said a little bit earlier, but the facial expressions that we have the capacity to change our neuroendocrine chemicals. So this can actually make us healthier. Now, just going back to the vagus nerve, why does the social engagement, why does that affect the vagus nerve? Well, remember, the vagus nerve is a cranial nerve. There are there's 12 cranial nerves. The vagus nerve is 10. Now, the vagus nerve connects in a nucleus called the nucleus ambiguus, and these three nerves connect together. Some say more than these three, but the vagus nerve, the glossopharyngeal, and the accessory. So the accessory nerve is involved in movement of the head, as we have with Brahma Mudra and also Nada Bhavana Shuddhi Kriya. Both of them involve moving the head. And the glossopharyngeal is involved in phonation, vocalization. Both of them have that. So when we do these activities, it is believed that it activates the vagus nerve. So that is the key here as to why these practices may activate vagal tone. Now, there's other nerves as well. So I highlighted down here in yellow the part that is with the nucleus ambiguous, the glossopharyngeal, cranial nerve 9, the accessory 11, and the vagus nerve, which is 10. And then here you'll see in green the facial nerve, cranial nerve 7, and the trigeminal nerve, cranial nerve 5. So facial expression, and also our trigeminal nerve is kind of comes on the side of our face here, but people with TMJ issues, which is oftentimes jaw pain, there's a lot of association with depression and mood, and there's several believed in some articles on the sensations in the jaw as well as vagal tone. So what that means is that all these cranial nerves, when we are utilizing them, activating them, there's a potential to enhance our vagal tone. So if we look back at Brahma Mudra here, look at all the cranial nerves that are involved: turning the head, the accessory nerve, phonation, glossopharyngeal, and the hypoglossal, where we put our tongue to make these sounds, some facial expression just to make the vowel sounds, some jaw mouth movement sensation, also the auditory nerve because we're hearing the sound we make, and some eye movement is involved as well. Pretty much the same things with the Nada Bhavana Shuddhi Kriya. So both these practices involve lots of cranial nerves and have the potential to improve vagal tone in that way, as well as the fact that we're expressing our body posture and using the extended exhalation to make the sounds, which is already established that extended exhalation enhances vagal tone. So we don't want to forget about that part also. So multiple reasons why these practices have the potential to enhance our health and well-being through enhancing vagal tone. And I want to leave you with this just kind of side note I thought was very interesting, is that any of you who are medical students oftentimes have mnemonics to memorize the cranial nerve order. Here's one mnemonic: only one of the two athletes felt very good, victorious, and healthy. So I highlighted in yellow the cranial nerves that are involved in these two practices. And if we look at those, the mnemonic, leaving out the first two, is of the two athletes felt very good, victorious, and healthy. So the message here is, if you want to feel good, feel healthy, feel happy, like you do when you enter Ananda ashram over here, and instead of feeling sad and angry and closed down, then activate your social engagement system. And these two practices are practices that can be extremely beneficial in doing so. So thank you for having me, and thank you to Dr. Ananda, his father, Dr. Geetananda, and the whole lineage for sharing these practices with the rest of the world. Thank you.
So thanks to Laurie on behalf of ISCM School of Yoga Therapy. You would have listened to her expertise, so I don't have to compile what she has really shared. The polyvagal theory and the parasympathetic dominance, or the balance of the autonomic nervous system. So she explained that so beautifully with the bits and pieces that I heard. Now we have the most eminent Guruji, Dr. H.R. Nagendra, the Chancellor of SVASA Bangalore. He is giving his felicitations along with a few ideas and thoughts about yoga and yoga therapy.
My dear brothers and sisters, delegates of this wonderful International Health and Research Convention 2023, organized between 20th to 23, a wonderful 3 days of academic extravaganza. I am also delighted to know that Dr. Ananda Bhavanani, one of our very close associate and the main editor of Indian Yoga Association Journal, has planned to have this also in the Pondicherry ashram. And this is in collaboration with IYA chapter of Pondicherry and also Kaivaladam Krishnamacharya Yoga Institute. It's very important that we lay emphasis on prevention, promotion of positive health and development of well-being rather than dealing with persons who get into diseases and try to treat them. The whole of the entire medical world has been concentrating only of the sick people. So it's very relevant that salutogenesis is being brought to fore in these health conferences to see that we promote the well-being by dealing with the health, the stress and the coping strategies. As we all understand, the definition of health is not merely absence of a disease, but the state of well-being at the physical, mental, social and spiritual levels. So when we talk about the healthcare delivery system, we should have such a comprehensive healthcare system which can give dimensions of not only dealing with the diseases, but more importantly in prevention and promotion of positive health. Though we say prevention is better than cure, we know hardly we put any amount in our health budget. Even the best of the developed countries have hardly used 1%. Fortunately in India, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, headed by Dr. Harshvardhan few years back, has been able to emphasize in this aspect and set up 1.5 lakh wellness centers throughout the country, almost one for every 4 villages. And that is the grand opening of salutogenesis, of bringing health to everyone, even at the village level. Therefore, this conference has a great potential to promote this dimension of salutogenesis. How do we do that? Stress has become the major killer. Stress is at the base of all these non-communicable diseases: asthma, diabetes, hypertension, heart problem, epilepsy, migraine, irritable bowel syndrome, cancer, HIV, schizophrenia and all psychiatric problems, everything. And modern medical system has no solution by itself. Once a diabetic, ever a diabetic. Once you got hypertension, for the life has come to pass. And once you have cancer, your days have numbered. And it's here that Ayush systems, with their comprehensive understanding of the whole creation and that which is beyond, has been able to offer a lifestyle change remedy in which we bring harmony between the right and the left brain and promote positive health continuously. Particularly yoga as a wonderful tool to work at the physical, mental, emotional, intellectual with a spiritual basis can bring in the dimensions needed to meet the multi-dimensional challenge that we are facing through the NCM. Particularly the music therapy also has a great role to play because it develops our right brain and harmonizes the left and the right brain capacities. Therefore, number of workshops that are being organized during this 3 days of wonderful conference by KSU University and many other universities who have joined will bring about, I was told, 25 workshops, 16 conferences, 6 CME and symposia. And I wish you all the best, and I am sure the delegates will have fascinating days in learning and in promoting their positive health and to prevent diseases. I wish you best and bring greetings from Swami Vivekananda Yoga Anusandhana Samsthan, the Lone Yoga, Full-Fledged Yoga University, and it is on this very special occasion of Swami Vivekananda's Jayanti on January 12th that we are invoking the blessings of Swami Vivekananda to see that this conference becomes a big success between 20th to 22nd. Dhanyavad, Namaskar.
You heard the most senior-most yoga person sharing his thoughts, and we are very, very privileged and honored to be receiving blessings. I've also heard that he is the personal yoga teacher for our Prime Minister Modi ji. So personal yoga associate and advisor also is what we have heard. Next we have Dr. Indra Selvarajah from University Pelita of Malaysia, sharing her thoughts on music therapy.
Good morning, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Indra Selvarajah from Universiti Putra Malaysia and the World Federation of Music Therapy. This keynote will provide a glimpse into music therapy and dementia. In particular, what we are trying to do through music therapy to provide solutions and support to people with dementia and their families in Malaysia. Dementia has reached a crisis status in Malaysia, as we will be an aging nation by 2030. So what is music therapy? Music therapy is the professional use of music and its elements as an intervention in medical, educational, and everyday environments with individuals, groups, families, or communities who seek to optimize their quality of life and improve their physical, social, communicative, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual health and well-being. Research, practice, education, and clinical training in music therapy are based on professional standards according to cultural, social, and political contexts. And what is dementia? Dementia is a chronic degenerative brain disease that mainly affects the elderly. At present, there is no cure. What dementia promises is a confusing descent into an earlier death. En route to death, the person with dementia is going to gradually lose his sense of self, awareness of surroundings, develop hallucinations, and extreme paranoia, and eventually forget who his loved ones are. In short, it is a devastating journey for both the individual with dementia and his or her family. Music builds a bridge of connection to dementia patients. This is a quote from the Center for Alzheimer's Care, University of Utah. Alzheimer's disease is the most common and most aggressive form of dementia out of all its subtypes. Enter music therapy. Neuroscience research shows us that nothing stimulates the brain as much as music. The right image shows us how the red, orange, and yellow regions of the brain light up in response to music under live fMRI imaging, even in severe stages of dementia. Music is able to activate regions of the brain spared by Alzheimer's disease. This is a simple diagram of the brain showing us how the whole brain is hardwired to respond to music. Research into the musical experiences of people with dementia and the meaning of music in their lives reveals that music is accessible to people with dementia at all stages of dementia. Research shows that music therapy is a valid treatment support for people with dementia and brings about all the benefits listed on the bottom right of the slide. In general, music therapy activities frequently recommended for individuals with dementia include musical engagement, as it improves mood, orientation and memory, also attention and executive functioning and general cognition; singing, which enhances short-term and working memory, especially when combined with reminiscence-based activities; and instrument playing to provide musical stimulation and support to help improve mental health, quality of life of caregivers and people with dementia by catering to their well-being. How can music therapy rebuild memories and restore family relationships for people with dementia? Music therapy focuses on person-centered care and uses music as a catalyst and support to spur therapeutic change. As therapists, we go out of our way to create a safe space that is non-threatening and non-stigmatizing, to encourage people with dementia to participate in music activities. We use music as a reminiscence cue and as a means of cognitive stimulation in fun and engaging ways. As part of person-centered care, music activities are presented in a manner that preserves the personhood of the person with dementia. We seek to protect the dignity of the patient. We are trained to see the person beyond the illness and to help them feel significant, valued, accepted, and non-stigmatized. Individual preference of music is preserved throughout the process of dementia. Hence, sustaining musical and interpersonal connectedness helps reinforce who the person is, preserves their self-identity and sense of personhood, and maintains quality of life. With dementia, family members are often faced with the knowledge that their loved one is gradually going to lose his or her sense of self, awareness of surroundings, develop behavioral and psychological disturbances, and eventually forget who his or her loved ones are. In short, it is a difficult and devastating journey for families. Research demonstrates that there are close links between music, personal identity, and life events. That is, the preservation of personhood, personal dignity, and memories of significant others in their life. I mentioned that sessions are designed to be fun, enjoyable, and engaging for the person with dementia. Music as a form of sensory stimulation is social and relational. It provokes various levels of response due to its familiarity, predictability, and feelings of security associated with music. We often involve family members to enable them to experience social connection through musical interaction with their family members who have dementia. We encourage reciprocal action, encourage active listening, and promotes positive family bonding through musical play, and work on reducing any negative attitudes that family members may have towards dementia. Music and its ability to preserve as well as build new memories, promote relationship building through music making, has also been highlighted in the research as being particularly valuable. Everything that we do in music therapy is driven by evidence-based research. Music therapy addresses functional outcomes in a range of domains. In short, music is used within a therapeutic relationship to address physical, cognitive, emotional, social, and behavioral needs of people with dementia in both individual and group contexts. As seen in the previous slide, most people associate music with fun, something that is entertaining and enjoyable. Most people don't associate music with treatment or therapy. This helps to lower defensiveness and barriers to treatment in dementia patients. Music therapy delivers evidence-based techniques and strategies which have been developed to complement and enhance the overall effects of the primary medical treatment. Dementia prevalence and known challenges of dementia care in India. The sources highlighted in white provide the latest evidence I could find, and I encourage you to look further into them for more insight. Some key findings are presented here. India is the world's second most populous country, and there are about 5.3 million people with dementia. Only 1 out of 10 people living with dementia ever gets a diagnosis, care, or treatment, which means the real number of people with dementia is much higher than reported. There are various obstacles to delivering dementia care and support to people living with dementia and their carers, which primarily center around lower awareness of dementia, social stigma, and barriers to accessing care. There is inadequate understanding of dementia in general, and a 2022 qualitative study by Herzog et al. On understanding experiences and attitudes of dementia in India discovered that a large proportion of nursing home staff hold misconceptions and stigmatizing beliefs about dementia. Caregivers of people with dementia have limited knowledge of dementia, having not heard of the term dementia or Alzheimer's disease, and were unable to differentiate dementia from normal aging. Moreover, they found that cultural values related with different religions emphasize the significance of family values, duties, and obligations, contributing to complex characteristics of Indian society and culture. Although in the last few decades there has been a growth of geriatricians in India and growing awareness of dementia, it is still overlooked and the concept of aging is neglected. This is a very similar scenario to what we have in Malaysia, as well as other countries in the Southeast Asian region. One of the vital lessons that we learned from our Southeast Asian Music Therapy Symposium that was held in August 2022 was that there is a strong need to raise awareness of dementia, not just in India, but in Southeast Asia as a whole, across all stakeholder groups, as the current lack of awareness of the condition has to take into account deeply entrenched cultural beliefs and social stigma about dementia that holds back progress in dementia care management and prevent families from reaching out to get much needed support for loved ones with dementia. As I mentioned before, in Malaysia, dementia has reached a crisis stage. We need to work hand in hand to come up with better solutions. Growth forecast of dementia globally. The global statistics indicate a rising trend. As you can see from the graph, the rate of growth is forecasted to be highest in low and middle income countries, which include India and the region of Southeast Asia. This brings about a host of other socioeconomic problems. Caregiver and health worker burnout are real-world problems that we hardly address. The trajectory of the problem and the urgency of the situation are real. Adopting a salutogenic approach towards dementia care. The diagram on the left is the recommended process for early detection of dementia out of the latest 2021 Clinical Practice Guidelines for Management of Dementia under the Malaysian Ministry of Health. The extant research and guidelines are clear. Early detection and prevention are key in managing dementia. Adopting a salutogenic approach focusing on preventative health makes total sense. And in cases where suspected symptoms of dementia have already manifested, early intervention is vital to prevent families and individuals with dementia from experiencing the trauma and suffering the consequences of undiagnosed dementia. Dementia is a clinical syndrome with a number of different causes which are progressive, irreversible, and characterized by the gradual deterioration of memory, reasoning, language, and physical functioning. Pharmacological interventions, such as medication, are available, but the side effects are severe and often life-threatening. The research is currently encouraging the development of non-pharmacological alternatives to improve options for dementia care. In striving to discover better early intervention solutions to dementia care in Malaysia, music therapy and technologically based artificial intelligence solutions are currently being leveraged to provide caregivers and family members with affordable and accessible early screening tools for dementia, to get people with dementia and their families the critical support that they need. In a nutshell, the music therapy-based technological solution is designed to deliver current advancements in music therapy screening for dementia with FireGen's cutting-edge technology onto an easily accessible and senior-friendly AI platform. The solution to help people with dementia and caregivers receive early assessment support is to get the person who is suspected of dementia screened as early as possible in a non-stigmatizing and non-stressful way using music therapy, and subsequently to provide music therapy services via a teletherapy platform. Not only does this combination help to break down current barriers to treatment, it will also help reduce the treatment gap, as well as ensure that people with dementia can be assessed as early as possible and get referred into medical treatment. It also widens access to dementia care support through the online platform. The standards of dementia assessment used in music therapy are based on the Cochrane Review, which is the medical gold standard. The various logos on the slide represent the various relevant stakeholders that UPM and FireGen are currently working with in Malaysia. In sum, we know from the research that music breaks barriers to treatment, and we are keen to find a way to reduce the current treatment gap in order to increase access to dementia care services through music therapy in Malaysia. In striving to discover better early intervention solutions to dementia care in Malaysia, music therapy and technologically based artificial intelligence solutions are currently being leveraged to provide caregivers and family members with affordable and accessible early screening tools for dementia to get people with dementia and their families the critical support that they need. In a nutshell, the music therapy-based technological solution is designed to deliver current advancements in music therapy screening with FireGen's cutting-edge technology onto an easily accessible and senior-friendly AI platform. The solution to help people with dementia and caregivers receive early assessment support is to get the person who is suspected of dementia screened as early as possible in a non-stigmatizing, non-threatening, and non-stressful way using music therapy, and subsequently to provide music therapy services via the teletherapy platform. Not only does this combination help to break down current barriers to treatment, it will also help reduce the treatment gap and ensure that people with dementia can be assessed as early as possible and get referred to medical treatment. It also widens access to dementia care support through the online platform and gives them direct support through music therapy. The standards of dementia assessment used in music therapy are based on the Cochrane Review, which is the medical gold standard. And the various logos on the slide represent the various relevant stakeholders currently working with FireGen and UPM in Malaysia. In sum, we know from the research that music breaks barriers to treatment, and we are keen to find a way to reduce the current treatment gap and increase access to dementia care services through music therapy in Malaysia. In UPM, we celebrate diversity and champion inclusion, and are passionate about research that brings about community transformation and social change. As a researcher and accidental community activist, I've been privileged to conduct research with oft-neglected and marginalized groups in Kuala Lumpur, including people with dementia as well as people with Parkinson's disease, whom I prefer to call Parkinson's warriors as they fight a daily battle with the disease. Our primary aim has been to use music therapy as a platform to listen and to give them a voice to speak for themselves, to better understand their challenges, to promote inclusion, and fight social stigma by creating opportunities to raise awareness about Parkinson's disease, build bridges of social connection, and increase society's empathy towards people with disabilities. It often involves participatory action research, using music as a safe space to share their authentic experiences and reveal their innermost thoughts and feelings. Our job is to honor and record those observations via research. The song lyrics on the right, Together We Conquer Parkinson's, is a direct outcome of one such study which we did in 2018, which has since been adopted as the Malaysian Parkinson's Disease Association's official theme song. More projects are being planned with both people with Parkinson's and people with dementia in 2023. I hope that in some small way, my keynote has provided you with insights that are eye-opening and helpful. Last but not least, I would like to sincerely thank the World Federation of Music Therapy for creating bridges of international connection that have made educational outreach such as this possible in the first place. Thank you for the privilege of sharing this presentation with you.
So, thanking Indra Selvarajah for sharing her insights on dementia and Parkinson's. Before we break for tea, I just wanted to stipulate one thing, what Laurie was saying. The practice, you know, where she was talking about ha 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 ha, ho 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 for the middle lung, and then he for the upper lung. What is yoga? Yoga is an experiential journey, Anubhuti Shastra. So can we all experience just this technique? Right? Are you all up to it? So may I request you to please rise up, stand up from your place. So the first 3 rounds, what we'll be doing is for the lower lung, which will be like, you know, from where we will be using the sound ha, 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 ha. Okay? And then for the mid lung, we will be using the sound, the nada, ho, 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 ho. And then he. And then all our animal nature, all the basic nature we have to get rid of, where, you know, you just touch your reptilian brain saying me, the mean me, right, as Sir says. And then the buddhi, to activate the prefrontal cortex, and then we say ho, getting rid of all the negativities, all that we do not want, we pull out. Okay, so 3 rounds of ha 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 ha, followed by 3 rounds of ho 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 ho, and then 3 rounds of he. Okay, yeah? So I want people from down here to come and ask us what's happening here. So we need to make as much noise as possible. Are you all ready? Okay, start. Ha 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 ho 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 ho. He me, 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 dhi, 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 po, 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 ha, 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 ho, 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 he, 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 me, 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 dhi, 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 go, 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 go. Thank you. So we take a break for tea now. We'll be back here, the same hall at 11 o'clock. Okay? So enjoy your tea and see you all.